sleep voyager. Tonight, we drift into a hidden realm, buried deep within the architecture of your own mind. On the surface, it appears simple. A sugar pill, a quiet suggestion, the ordinary ritual of taking a cure. But beneath that calm exterior, an ancient mystery stirs. It is an unseen force, a tireless alchemist, that transforms pure belief into biological reality. It hums quietly in the background, fast and powerful, proving that the mind can whisper to the body in a language we are only just beginning to understand. If you enjoy these quiet journeys into the unknown, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, simply settle in. Let the noise of the day drift away like smoke. Allow your eyes to grow heavy and your breathing to slow. Let us begin. A placebo is an inert substance with no physiological activity. You swallow a simple pill made of compressed sugar. It dissolves in the dark warmth of your stomach. There is no medicine inside it. No foreign molecule enters your bloodstream to counter a condition. Yet, your heart rate slows. The tightness in your muscles begins to uncoil. The discomfort recedes like a tide going out. Your brain believes it has been helped. It releases its own soothing opioids. The expectation of relief becomes the relief itself. The mind builds a bridge over the discomfort. The body crosses it without question. It is a silent conversation between thought and matter. Nothing has happened, yet everything has changed. This reveals that the boundary between your belief and your biology is permeable. The cure you seek is often a dormant seed waiting for permission to grow. You are already home. The brain releases specific neurotransmitters when it anticipates a cure. This process begins before any treatment is administered. You see a doctor in a white coat. You hear a voice promising safety. These sensory inputs travel to the brain. They act like a key turning in a heavy lock. Deep within the brain stem, a reservoir opens. Natural soothing agents flood the system. They flow like a slow, invisible river through your spine. The anxiety that held you rigid begins to melt. Your shoulders drop. The tension evaporates into the air around you. The body is not tricked. It is simply unlocking its own reserve. It prepares the ground for recovery. The ritual of care is enough to start the engine. It is a reminder that you are not a machine made of separate parts. You are a unified vessel where hope translates into matter. The thought of peace creates the physical state of peace. Clinical trials show that placebos can function even when the patient is aware they contain no medicine. You read the label. It says the pill is empty. You place it on your tongue anyway. You drink the cool water. You swallow. The conscious mind knows the truth, but the body responds to the ritual. The simple act of taking care of yourself sends a signal. The rhythm of the day is preserved. The hand moves to the mouth. The throat swells. This sequence is a language the body understands. It remembers the pattern of healing from years past. It recalls the comfort of being tended to. The old pathways of relief light up. The ancient mechanism turns off. The logic does not matter. The habit is stronger than the fact. In this sense, we see that the body is a creature of deep habit. It finds comfort in the repetition of safety. The ritual itself is a form of medicine. The physical appearance of a medication alters the body's physiological response to it. A blue pill is often perceived as a sedative. You look at the small, round object. The color blue enters your eyes. Your mind associates it with the night sky. It thinks of deep water. It thinks of cold stillness. Before you even swallow, the pulse begins to steady. The eyelids grow heavy. If the pill were red, the heart might beat faster. The mind expects energy from the color of warmth. But yeah, the blue shade promises sleep. It is a symbol that the body reads instantly. The optic nerve speaks to the gut. The expectation sets the stage for the chemistry to follow. The visual world imprints upon the internal world. You could say that your senses are constantly writing the code for your biology. The world outside enters you and dictates how you feel. You absorb the calm of the gut. The nocebo effect occurs when the expectation of discomfort manifests actual physical symptoms. You are told a procedure might be sensitive. The mind tenses. It creates a state of hypervigilance. A gentle touch feels significant. A breath of air feels like a weight. The nervous system turns up the volume on every signal. It scans for discord in the silence. It amplifies the background noise of the body. You feel nausea where there is only digestion. You feel a sensation where there is only rest. The mind projects a shadow onto the body. The body conforms to the shape of that shadow. It is a protective mechanism overreacting. It tries to prepare you for the unlikely. This reveals that your perception filters your reality. The lens through which you view the world changes what you feel. By softening the gaze, the sensation dissolves. By expecting safety, the body returns to a state of grace. Classical conditioning creates a physiological link between a neutral stimulus and a bodily reflex. The body keeps a record of everything. You smell a familiar scent from childhood. It enters the nose. It travels to the brain. Instantly, the muscles relax. The heart slows down. You do not need to think about the memory. The body remembers the feeling of safety before the mind recalls the place. Big white room implies care. High soft voice implies rest. These are triggers buried deep in the nervous system. They wait in the dark until summoned. The biology reacts to the echo of the past. The nerves settle into a familiar groove. It is a reminder that you carry your history in every cell. The past is not gone. It is a soft map that guides you back to stillness. Observation of another person's relief can trigger sensation reduction in the observer. We are not isolated islands. You watch someone else find rest. You see their chest rise and fall. You see their eyes close. A signal mirrors this in your own mind. Your breathing matches their rhythm. The tension leaves your hands because it left theirs. The brain mimics the safety of witnesses. It is a silent transfer of comfort. We are wired to feel what the tribe feels. The calm of the group becomes the calm of the individual. The air in the room settles. We borrow peace from one another. We drink from the same well of relief. In this sense, we see that healing is a collective resonance. We are bound together by invisible threads of empathy. Your rest helps the world to rest. The prefrontal cortex exerts control over deeper brain regions to inhibit discomfort signals. The executive mind speaks to the primal body. It sends a command of silence. The nerve endings are signaling. The brain steps in. It turns down the volume dial. The noise of the sensation becomes a whisper. The signal fades into the static. You focus on the horizon. The sensation in the limb grows distant. It feels like something happening to someone else. The mind stands guard. It decides what is felt and what is ignored. The chaotic signals are brought to order. The wind blows outside. The house remains quiet. The logic overrides the instinct. You could say that your awareness is a vast ocean that absorbs the stone. The sensation is safe. The surface remains smooth. You are the master of your own internal weather. Genetic variations determine how quickly the brain breaks down dopamine. This is written in the code of your biology. Some bodies hold on to the chemical of reward longer. For them, the placebo is strong. The molecule of hope lingers in the gap between neurons. It floats there. It keeps the connection open. The feeling of relief lasts longer. It is a microscopic difference with a heavy impact. Your DNA decides how much comfort you can absorb. It constructs the receptor sites. It builds the pathways. You are an architect of your own chemistry. The blueprint was drawn long before you were born. The mechanism works in the dark. This reveals that the capacity for hope is a physical trait. It is woven into the double helix. You were built to seek the light. You were engineered to find relief. Laboratory animals exhibit reduced discomfort behaviors when given inert treatments they associate with relief. This is not a human invention. A mouse feels discomfort. It receives a sham injection. It curls up and sleeps. The restless movements stop. The breathing regulates. It does not know the concept of medicine. It only knows the ritual of health. It feels the change in the environment. The instinct to heal takes over. The biology of the mammal is universal. The brain seeks the path of least resistance. It wants to conserve energy. It wants to repair. The expectation of safety is a language older than words. It is spoken by every rhythmic hunt. It is a reminder that we are part of a great, silent family. The drive to be well is the fundamental law of life. All living things lean toward the warmth. Patients experience relief even when explicitly told they are receiving a placebo. The secret is out. You hold the sugar pill. You know it is sugar. You swallow it. The body does not care about your knowledge. It cares about the action. The stomach senses the object. The clock ticks. The routine is satisfying. The subconscious mind works deeper than the intellect. It operates in the basement. It follows the old rules. The hand moves. The water flows. The tension breaks. The intellect doubts. The body believes. The body has its own wisdom. It knows how to use the tools it is given. It creates medicine out of nothing. In this sense, we see that the body is a faithful servant to the ritual. It honors the attempt to heal. It rewards the gesture of care with the gift of peace. The magnitude of the placebo response is not constant across different conditions or times. It comes and goes like the weather. One day the relief is deep. The next day the sensation returns. It is a fluid dynamic. The brain is not a static rock. It is a shifting dune. Chemicals rise and fall. Receptors open and close. The internal landscape changes with the hour. You accept the rhythm. You do not fight the tide. You float on the surface of the variation. Sometimes the bridge is strong. Sometimes it is missed. You wait for the cycle to return. You rest in the uncertainty. You remain still. This reveals that healing is not a destination. It is a practice of return. It is a breathing in and a breathing out. You are always moving toward the center. The placebo effect involves the activation of the endogenous opioid system. This system is a network of receptors found throughout the nervous system. The brain manufactures its own relief. It does not need to wait for a pill. It releases a chemical that mimics relief compounds. This substance travels down the spinal cord. It finds the gate where the sensation enters. It closes the gate. The signal from the condition is blocked. The message is silenced before it reaches your awareness. The body washes itself in its own soothing fluid. The sensation is there, but you do not feel it. The heavy sensation lifts. The muscles soften into the mattress. It is a reminder that you carry a pharmacy within your own blood. You are equipped for every trial. The remedy is already circulating in your veins. Placebo injections often produce stronger effects than placebo pills. The magnitude of the intervention scales with the magnitude of the relief. You feel the sensation of the treatment. The process begins. It is a serious moment. The body pays attention to the intervention. It believes that a strong measure has been taken. It prepares a strong response. A pill is easy to swallow. An injection is a deeper event. The nervous system respects the gravity of the procedure. It rallies more resources to the site. The anticipation is heightened. The relief follows the curve of the intensity. The heat subsides rapidly. The silence returns. In this sense, we see that we value what is difficult. The body honors the weight of the ritual. The deeper the sensation, the deeper the peace that follows. Cultural background influences the efficacy of placebo treatments. What a society believes in becomes a physical reality for its members. You live in a world of shared symbols. If your people trust the needle heals you. If they trust the herb soothes you. The belief is in the air you breathe. It is in the stories you were told as a child. It sounds into your bones without your permission. You see the healer. You trust the method because your ancestors trusted it. The mind creates a bridge based on the map of your culture. The body follows the path laid down by history. The tension dissolves because you are where you belong. You could say that we are shaped by the collective dream. The mind is the many comforts, the body is the one. We rest in the certainty of our tribe. Blood responses to condition the immune system to suppress rejection of transplanted organs. The body learns to lower its shield. You taste a specific flavor while taking a drug. Later, you taste the flavor alone. The immune system remembers the drug. It quiets down. It stops resisting the foreign element. The flow of white blood cells rest. The inflammation cools. The defenses lower their weapons. The body accepts what is there. It stops the resistance against itself. The flavor is just a signal. The peace is the response. The biological memory is perfect. It repeats the lesson of calm. The heat leaves the skin. The pulse slows. This reveals that the body can be taught to trust. The tension within can be ended by a simple memory. We are capable of learning the rhythm of acceptance. The anticipation of reward releases dopamine in the striatum. This region of the brain governs motivation. You expect the discomfort to stop. The brain treats this expectation as a reward. It releases the chemical of pleasure before the relief arrives. It is a precursor to peace. The neurons fire in a rhythmic pattern. The chemistry of the brain shifts toward the light. You feel a lifting of the burden. The fog clears. The heavy weight on the chest feels lighter. The body is preparing to receive a gift. It opens itself to the possibility of comfort. The future pulls the present forward. You could say that hope is a physical substance. It occupies space in the mind. It changes the structure of the moment. We are sustained by the promise of the silence to come. Patients taking placebos can experience the specific side effects listed on the medication label. The mind reads the list of effects. He expects a dry mouth. He expects drowsiness. The body obeys the instruction. The saliva stops flowing. The eyelids grow heavy. There is no chemical cause to this. There is only the script you have read. The suggestion plants a seed in the nervous system. The seed grows into a sensation. The phantom symptom feels real. The stomach reacts because it was told to. The head aches because it was warned. The body is a mirror reflecting your expectations. It is a reminder that words have weight. They enter the body and change its shape. We must be careful with the stories we tell ourselves. Thought creates the atmosphere in which we live. Homeostasis is the tendency of the body to seek and maintain a condition of equilibrium. All systems want to return to the middle. The placebo is a permission slip for this return. The temperature breaks. The heart rate drops to a resting pace. The breathing deepens. The body knows how to find its balance. It only needs a signal to begin. It wants to be still. It wants to be consistent. The fluctuation stops. The waves settle into a flat surface. You drift back to the center. The effort is over. The effort to heal is replaced by the state of health. This reveals that rest is our natural state. We are always falling back toward the center of gravity. The universe within us seeks the silence of the void. You are safe in the balance. Sham surgeries yield similar results to actual procedures in specific orthopedic conditions. You lie on the table. The lights are bright and cold. The surgeon makes an opening in the skin. The knee is prepared. Then the skin is closed. No repair is made to the bone. You wake up in the recovery room. The leg is wrapped in bandages. You feel the ache of the cut. The body senses the site and begins the work of mending. It sends blood to the site. It weaves new tissue. The discomfort in the joint fades because the body believes it has been fixed. The ritual of the instrument is enough. It is a reminder that the body honors the marks we bear. The mark itself is a signal to begin again. The body is together in the silence. Placebos stimulate the release of dopamine in the brains of patients with Parkinson's disease. The neurons have grown quiet over the years. The movement is stiff and slow. The easy pill is given. The brain recognizes the shape of hill. It squeezes the remaining stores of dopamine from the cells. The chemical flows into the synapse. The shaking hand grows steady. The rigid muscle relaxes. The body moves with a sudden, fluid grace. It draws upon a hidden bank account of energy. The potential for movement was always there. It was trapped behind a wall of silence. The belief removes the stone. The river flows again. In this sense, we see that the body is waiting for permission to function. It holds a secret strength in reserve. We are often stronger than we feel. The capacity for grace remains. Cyclists given a placebo perform better at high altitudes despite lower oxygen levels. The air is thin and cold. The lungs work hard to find breath. The muscles burn with the effort of the climb. You swallow the capsule. You believe it helps you breathe. The pressure in the chest subsides. The heart beats with a steady rhythm. The legs push against the gravity. The body ignores the thinness of the air. It listens to the promise of the massive. It finds energy in the empty space. The exhaustion is pushed away. You climb higher into the mist. The limit of the body is stretched by the mind. This reveals that our limits are often drawn by our own fears. We stop because we think we must. When the mind refuses to stop, the body follows. We are built to endure the thin air. Expensive placebos are reported to be more effective than cheap placebos. You pay a high price for the cure. You hold the bottle in your hand. It feels heavy with value. The mind calculates the cost. It assumes that sacrifice equals power. You swallow the expensive pill. The body prepares for a significant change. It respects the investment. The relief is sharp and immediate. A cheap pill might be ignored. The expensive one commands attention. The nervous system bows to the hierarchy of worth. We are wired to believe that value carries force. The transaction becomes part of the therapy. You could say that we measure our healing by what we give up for it. The more we offer, the more we receive. The body answers the demand of the sacrifice. A practitioner's facial expressions and tone of voice directly impact the patient's physiological outcome. You look into the eyes of the healer. They are calm. They do not hold uncertainty. You hear the deep, slow resonance of their voice. The sound enters your ear. It vibrates in your chest. Your heart matches their steady beat. The adrenaline in your blood begins to degrade. The cortisol levels drop. You are safe because they are safe. The anxiety that tightens the stomach unravels. You breathe out the tension. The presence of another human being acts as a regulator for your own biology. We tune our instruments to those around us. It is a reminder that we are not solitary creatures. We are open systems. The peace of one becomes the peace of the other. We heal in the reflection of kindness. Painkillers are significantly less effective when administered without the patient's knowledge. You are asleep. A machine pumps medicine into your vein. The chemical is powerful. It enters the blood. It reaches the brain. But the mind does not know it is there. The relief is partial. The discomfort lingers in the background. Then the doctor walks in. They tell you the medicine is coming. You see that too. You watch the liquid flow. Now the relief is complete. The discomfort vanishes. The chemical needs the witness to do its full work. The conscious mind has opened the door for the molecule. In this sense, we see that participation is required for salvation. You must be present for your own healing. The body waits for the mind to acknowledge the cure. We must see the help to feel it. Chronic discomfort patients who respond to placebo show distinct differences in brain anatomy. The structure of the gray matter is unique. It is denser in regions that control emotion. The brain is built to modulate its own sensation. You are born with a landscape of resilience inside your skull. The pathways are wide and well traveled. When discomfort arrives, the brain knows the route to safety. It diverts the signal. It cushions the blow. This is not a choice you make. It is the architecture of your existence. You were constructed to find the light in the dark. The map was drawn before you took your first breath. This reveals that the ability to heal is a physical gift. It is etched into the stone of your being. You are designed to survive the storm. The sanctuary is built into the walls. Perceived sleep quality improves cognitive function even when actual sleep quality is poor. This is known as placebo sleep. You wake up tired. The room is gray. You are told that your sleep was deep and unbroken. You believe the data on the screen. The brain accepts this new reality. It shakes off the fatigue. The mental fog lifts like smoke. The neurons begin to fire with precision. You focus on the task. The heaviness in the eyes disappears. The body ignores the lack of hours. It operates on the fuel of the belief. You perform as if you had rested for eternity. The fatigue was real, but the mind chose to override it. It is a reminder that energy is often a decision made by the biology. We draw strength from the story we tell ourselves. The mind builds the day upon a foundation of assumed rest. The frequency of dosing alters the magnitude of the placebo effect. Taking a pill 4 times a day works better than taking it twice. You create a rhythm. The sun rises. You take the first dose. The shadow shortens. You take the second. The repetition creates a structure for the day. The body learns to expect relief at specific intervals. The clock becomes a healer. The hand moves to the mouth again and again. Each movement is a reinforcement. The ritual surrounds the discomfort. It traps the sensation in a cycle of routine. The constant attention convinces the nervous system that help is always present. In this sense, we see that the body finds safety and consistency. The pattern itself acts as a scaffold. They build a wall against the discomfort, one break at a time. The regularity of the act becomes the cure. Environmental cues in medical settings trigger conditioned physiological responses. You walk into the clinic. The air is cool and filtered. You smell the faint scent of antiseptic. The walls are white and bare. The noise of the street is gone. These are not just aesthetic choices. They are signals to the instinctive brain. The heart rate slows down upon entry. The blood pressure drops. The body recognizes the architecture of care. It knows this is a place where discomfort tends. The environment speaks a language of sterility and order. The complexity of the illness feels out of place here. The body aligns itself with the stillness of the room. You could say that the building itself is a medical instrument. The space enters you. It organizes your internal state. We are shaped by the wounds we inhabit. The silence of the walls quiets the noise of the blood. The placebo effect has been statistically increasing in clinical trials over the last several decades. The drugs stay the same. The sugar pill stays the same. The response grows stronger. We live in a world of constant noise. We seek relief with greater intensity. The symbol of the pill has gained power in the collective mind. We trust the technology of medicine more than our ancestors did. The expectation of a cure is now woven into the culture. It hangs in the air. You swallow the pill with the weight of history behind it. The body responds to the accumulated hope of the era. The relief is amplified by the belief of the millions who came before you. This reveals that we are part of a slow, rising tide of expectation. The mind of the species is learning to heal itself. We are evolving to a state of readiness. Therapeutic touch releases oxytocin and lowers heart rate even without medical intervention. A hand rests on your arm. The skin is warm. The pressure is light and steady. The nerves in the skin send a direct line to the brain. The signals in the amygdala stop ringing. The guard comes down. The chemical of bonding floods the system. The isolation of the discomfort is broken. You are no longer alone in the dark. The body prioritizes connection over defense. The muscles loosen their grip on the bone. The breath falls into a slower cadence. It is a transfer of calm from one vessel to another. It is a reminder that we are designed to be held. The boundary of the skin is a doorway, not a wall. The presence of another is the oldest medicine we have. We mend when we are touched. Diagnostic labels can alter the perception of symptoms and recovery outcomes. You have a sensation in the chest. It is a shapeless dark shadow. You imagine the worst. Then the doctor gives it a name. It is a benign condition. It is a known quantity. The fear evaporates. The sensation remains, but it changes character. It becomes manageable. It becomes a small thing. The vast unknown shrinks into a single word. The body stops panicking. The inflammation caused by stress subsides. The roadmap to recovery becomes clear. You know where you are. The mind stops spinning scenarios of concern. In this sense, we see that the unknown is a burden to the nervous system. Knowledge acts as an anchor. When we name the shadow, it loses its weight. The word creates a container for the experience. We find peace in the definition. Children demonstrate significantly higher placebo responses than adults in many conditions. The mind of the child is soft. It has not yet built the walls of cynicism. It does not doubt the spoon. It does not question the bitter taste. The parent says it will make it better. The child believes this as a law of physics. Their trust is absolute. The barrier between the suggestion and the biology is thin. The body repairs itself instantly to match the promise. The fever breaks. The stomach settles. The tears stop. They are open to the world. They absorb the comfort without filtering it. You could say that the capacity to heal is linked to the capacity to trust. We lose this fluidity as we age. We build defenses that block the cure. To heal is to return to the innocence of the beginning. The open heart receives the most relief. The immune system can be conditioned to respond to taste alone. This is a form of biological learning. You are given a drug that suppresses the immune system. It is paired with a sweet, distinct liquid. You drink them together. The body learns a connection. Later, you drink the sweet liquid without the drug. The taste hits the tongue. The signal travels to the spleen. The group of white blood cells slows down. The inflammation cools. The body recognizes the flavor and mimics the effect of the medicine. The defense rests because the taste told it to. The memory of the tongue controls the cells in the blood. In this sense, we see that the body is a library of associations. It reads the sensory world like a map. The taste of the past brings the peace of the present. The color red signals the nervous system to increase alertness. A pill's hue acts as a visual command. You hold a crimson capsule. It looks like warmth. It looks like a crimson sphere. The eye takes in the wavelength. The brain interprets it as power. You swallow the object. The pulse quickens. The senses sharpen. You feel a surge of sudden heat. There is no stimulant inside. There is only the association with energy. The mind expects action. The body prepares for movement. The lethargy dissolves. The color itself acts as the fuel. The visual world dictates the internal state. You could say that we are painted by the colors we consume. The light enters the eye and changes the chemistry of the blood. We are responsive to the spectrum of the world. There are creams applied to the skin can reduce the sensation of discomfort. You are told the lotion is a powerful anesthetic. The cream is cool and white. You watch the head applied to your arm. The area feels protected, i.e., source is brought near. The nerves signal less loudly. The brain ignores the rising temperature. It assumes the shield is in place. The skin remains calm. The redness is reduced. The barrier is imaginary, but the protection is real. The mind creates a layer of insulation. The expectation of safety blocks the signal of danger. It is a reminder that the mind is the ultimate shield. It decides what penetrates the walls of the body. We can refuse to feel the heat if we believe we are safe. Larger pills are often perceived as stronger doses than smaller pills. The physical dimensions of the object correlate with the strength of the response. You are given a large capsule. It is hard to swallow. It feels substantial in the throat. The mind measures the size. It concludes that the medicine is powerful. The body prepares for a major event. The relief washes over you like a heavy wave. A tiny pill might be missed by the senses. The large one commands respect. The scale of the object dictates the scale of the cure. The physical weight translates into biological weight. This reveals that we measure health by its magnitude. The body responds to the size of the offering. We assume that more matter means more relief. Patients with deactivated pacemakers often report improved heart function. A device is implanted in the body. The metal sits in the chest. The wires touch the heart. The battery is silent. The machine is doing nothing. Yet the patient walks further. The breath comes easier. The heart feels steady. The presence of the technology is enough. The body feels the weight of the device and feels safe. The anxiety that strains the heart disappears. The organ beats efficiently because the fear is gone. The metal is a talisman. The surgery itself was the cure. In this sense, we see that safety is a physical sensation. The knowledge of protection allows the body to rest. We function better when we believe we are supported by the machine. The belief that one is consuming alcohol causes motor impairment and mood shifts. You drink a liquid. It warms the throat. It tastes like spirits. There's no ethanol in the glass. Yet, the room begins to spin gently. The tongue feels heavy. The inhibitions drop. You laugh more easily. The balance shifts. The brain expects the sedative. It loosens the control over the muscles. The world softens at the edges. The mind gives itself permission to let go. The chemistry is sober, but the experience is altered. The expectation creates the state of release. You could say that reality is often a consensus of the mind. We feel what we expect to feel. The experience is constructed from the blueprint of our anticipation. Placebos duplicate a significant portion of the response to antidepressants. You take the daily tablet. You wait for the cloud to lift. The chemistry in the pill is inert. The chemistry in the hope is strong. The brain begins to rewire itself. It seeks the light. The serotonin levels shift because you believe they will. The morning feels less gray. The weight on the chest lightens. The ritual of taking the pill marks the start of a new day. The mind decides to heal. The chemistry follows the decision. The darkness recedes because you invited the light to return. It is a reminder that the darkness is not permanent. The brain has the tools to repair its own sky. We are capable of generating our own light. The efficacy of open-label placebos relies on a plausible rationale provided to the patient. You are told the body can heal itself. The doctor explains the mechanism of the sugar pill. The words enter your ears. They are clear and logical. The mind accepts the proposition. It agrees to participate in the experiment. You swallow the inert substance. The stomach dissolves it. The brain, understanding the game, still releases the relief. It does not need deception. It only needs a reason. The mechanism of self-repair turns on because you allowed it to. The honesty does not break the spell. It strengthens the resolve. This reveals that the body is a willing partner in its own rescue. It waits for our logical permission to begin. We are healed by the truth of our own capacity. When the physician believes the treatment is active, the patient outcomes improve. The doctor holds the pill. They believe it contains power. Their hand is steady. Their voice carries the weight of conviction. These subtle signals travel through the air. The patient reads the micro-expressions. The certainty is contagious. The doubt is absent from the room. The body mirrors the confidence of the healer. If the doctor doubts, the patient doubts. The connection is a channel for the truth. The relief flows from the believer to the receiver. The nervous system tunes itself to the authority in the room. It is a reminder that we are transparent to one another. The hidden thought becomes the shared reality. We are anchored by the certainty of those who tend to us. The interpretation of a physical sensation alters the neural processing of discomfort. You feel a sharp ache in the muscle. If you believe it is damage, the sensation is loud. The nerves signal intensely. If you believe it is growth, the sensation is quiet. It feels like a strength. The sensation is the same. The signal of the wire has not changed, but the mind has changed the filter. The anxiety is removed from the equation. The body relaxes around the sensation. It accepts the ache as part of the process. The muscles do not tighten in defense. They soften in acceptance. In this sense, we see that the story dictates the tension. The narrative we construct wraps around the dome. We can change the feeling by changing the meaning. Capsules are often perceived as more effective than tablets of the same dosage. You hold the gelatin shell. It is smooth and seamless. It looks modern. It looks engineered. The powder is hidden inside. The mystery is contained. The tablet is just compressed dust. The capsule feels like a vessel. The mind respects the vessel. You swallow it. It slides down easily. The casing dissolves in the dark. The medicine is released. The body prefers the sophisticated object. It assigns more power to the complex shape. The form dictates the function. The expectation is shaped by the texture. This reveals that we judge the contents by the container. The aesthetics of the cure shape the biology of the recovery. We are soothed by the appearance of precision. Asthmatic patients experience improved airflow when inhaling inert mist labeled as a bronchoglotta. The chest is tight. The air struggles to enter. The tension rises. You hold the mask to your face. You breathe in the mist. It is only water vapor. It is only humidity. But the mind believes it is medicine. The muscles around the airways relax. The tubes widen. The oxygen flows freely into the blood. The wheezing stops. The body accepts the moisture as a command to open. The tightness was a wall built by fear. The belief tears down the wall. The breath returns to its natural rhythm. You could say that the breath follows the thought. The lungs expand to hold the promise of air. We are sustained by the invisible. Some acupuncture significantly reduces nausea in patients undergoing treatment. A needle touches the skin. It does not pierce. It does not hit a meridian. It simply rests there. The skin feels the point of contact. The signal travels up the nerve. The stomach stops churning. The wave of nausea flattens out. The digestion quiets. The body focuses on the sensation of the touch. It forgets the sensation of the illness. The focus shifts from the interior to the exterior. The needle acts as a lightning rod. It grounds the electrical storm in the gut. The skin accepts the intervention. It is a reminder that the body can be redirected. A small sensation can displace a large suffering. We find balance in the smallest points of contact. The placebo response extinguishes when the conditioned cue is repeatedly presented without the reward. The bell rings. The food does not come. The body stops salivating. The pill is taken. The discomfort does not stop. The brain learns the new truth. The chemicals dry up. The receptors close. The bridge falls down. The body returns to the raw reality of the condition. It stops trying to heal with hope alone. It waits for a real intervention. The illusion is fragile. It requires the reinforcement of a result. If the silence is not answered, the noise returns. This reveals that trust is a finite resource. It must be replenished to survive. The body is a pragmatist. It eventually demands the truth. The metabolic response to food depends on the nutritional label provided. You drink a thick shake. The label says it is decadent. It says it is full of fat. The mind believes it is a feast. The stomach sends a signal to the brain. The hunger hormone drops rapidly. The body feels full. If the label says it is healthy, the hormone stays high. The hunger remains. The calories are the same. The chemical reaction is different. The body digests the words, not just the liquid. It prepares for the load it expects to carry. The biology shifts based on the information. It is a reminder that we eat the story. The narrative nourishes the blood. We are filled by our belief in the meal. Awareness of physical activity levels alters physiological health markers. You move through the day. You lift heavy sheets. You scrub the floor. You are told this is exercise. You are told it makes you strong. The mind accepts this definition. The blood pressure drops. The weight goes off. The body stops seeing the labor as stress. It starts seeing it as training. The muscles respond to the change in perspective. The work is the same. The result is different. The fatigue becomes a sign of growth. The sweat becomes a sign of health. In this sense, we see that the mind defines the labor. Purpose changes the impact on the body. It goes strong when we believe we are building strength. Listening to a false, slow heartbeat reduces actual physiological anxiety. You hear a sound. It is a slow, steady throb. Thump, thump. You are told it is your own heart. The mind matches the rhythm. It signals the real heart to slow down. The restlessness subsides. The breathing deepens to catch the beat. The feedback loop is artificial. The count is real. The body tunes itself to the external signal. It seeks the safety of the slow rhythm. The noise dictates the internal pace. The pulse falls into line with the signal. You could say that we are constantly synchronizing with the world. The air guides the blood. We find peace in the echo of a steady beat. Histamine reactions can be triggered or suppressed by visual cues alone. A metal rod touches the skin. You are told it is a hot allergen. The skin turns red. It swells. A hive appears where the metal touched. The rod was totally clean. The body launched a defense against a ghost. The immune system responded to nothing. It followed the instruction of the fear. The cells released their chemicals because the mind saw danger. The mark on the skin is real. The cause is imaginary. The expectation of the rash created the rash. This reveals that the body is a loyal soldier. It obeys the command without question. The thought leaves a mark on the body. Branded analgesics are reported as more effective than identical generic compounds. You see the familiar logo. The box is shiny and bright. The name is known. You swallow the pill. The mind trusts the reputation. It assumes quality. It assumes power. The body relaxes before the chemistry dissolves. A plain white box feels weak. The famous box feels strong. The relief follows the prestige. The molecules are the same. The packaging changes the outcome. The eyes convince the nerves. The aesthetic value becomes a biological value. It is a reminder that we rely on symbols. The image carries weight. We are soothed by the recognition of the name. The expectation of nausea prevention suppresses the gastric rhythm associated with sickness. The duck rocks on the water. The horizon moves up and down. You feel the dizziness start. You take a pout. You believe it stops the nausea. The stomach calms down. The waves still crash. The inner ear still shakes. But the gut remains still. The anticipation of relief holds the nausea back. The body finds a stable center in the middle of the storm. The complexity of the motion is ignored. The pill acts as an anchor. You stand firm on the shifting deck. You could say that stability is an internal choice. We float on the surface of the belief. Cessation of a long-term placebo treatment can trigger physical withdrawal symptoms. You stop taking the sugar pill. You have taken it for months. The body notices the absence. It grows restless. You feel a tremor in the head. You feel a headache behind the eyes. There was no drug to become accustomed to. The body was accustomed to the ritual. It misses the daily signal of care. The gap in the routine creates the discomfort. The nervous system mourns the loss of the head. The emptiness feels physical. The clock ticks, but the hand does not move. This reveals that we are creatures of rhythm. The absence of the ritual is a shock to the system. We depend on the constancy of the act. Visual feedback can override proprioception signals to relieve phantom limb discomfort. The brain constructs a map of the body. Sometimes it keeps a map of a limb that is gone. The missing hand feels clenched. It feels like iron. You place the remaining hand in front of a mirror. You look at the reflection. The brain sees two hands. It sees the movement. It believes the missing limb has returned. It believes the fist is open. The phantom tension dissolves. The ghost muscle relaxes. The discomfort vanishes because the eyes told the brain it was over. The visual override is complete. It is a reminder that your reality is a construct of the senses. The body you feel is the body you see. We are healed by the image of our own wholeness. Observation of scratching triggers activation in the anterior cingulate cortex of the observer. You see a stranger scratch their arm. You do not know them. Yet, a signal fires in your own brain. A ghost sensation crawls across your skin. You feel an itch that is not there. The hand moves to scratch it. The boundary between your body and their body blurs. The nervous system mirrors the sensation of the tribe. It is a contagion of feeling. The visual input becomes a physical tactile experience. The skin responds to the sight of discomfort. In this sense, we see that we are not enclosed in a sealed vessel. We are permeable to the experiences of others. The sensation travels through the empty space between us. Auditory stimulation competes with nociceptive signals in the spinal cord. Discomfort travels up a narrow road. Sound travels up the same road. You listen to a deep, steady rhythm. The music enters the ear. It floods the nervous system. The road becomes crowded. The sensation signal is pushed aside. It cannot reach the brain with the same force. The melody acts as a gatekeeper. The pressure is drowned out by the harmony. The body drifts on the current of the sound. The muscles unclench. The breath follows the tempo. You could say that the architecture of sound restructures the architecture of feeling. We can build a shelter out of rhythm. The song protects the body from the silence of the discomfort. Active placebos that mimic side effects produce higher efficacy rates than inert pills. You take a pill. It makes your mouth dry. It makes your skin tingle. You feel a slight discomfort. The mind interprets this as power. It thinks the medicine is strong because it feels distinct. The body rallies to the cause. The primary symptom fades because the secondary symptom appears. We do not trust a cure that is too gentle. We expect a process. The bitterness on the tongue confirms the validity of the treatment. The discomfort is the proof of the work. This reveals that we demand a price for our healing. We believe that the cure must have weight. The body honors the transaction of sensation. Anticipatory nausea occurs when environmental cues trigger a physiological reaction before treatment begins. You walk into the hospital. You see the pattern on the floor. You smell the alcohol. The drug has not entered your vein. Yet the stomach turns. The body remembers the compound from the last time. It reacts to the room itself. The walls are the trigger. The furniture is the signal. The biological memory is faster than the conscious thought. The nausea is a protective reflex overreacting. It tries to expel a burden that is not yet there. It is a reminder that the body is a historian. It writes the past into the tissue of the gut. The memory of experience becomes the experience itself. The presence of a physician can temporarily elevate blood pressure readings. This is the white coat effect. Use it on the table. The doctor enters. They are a figure of authority. They hold the power of diagnosis. The heart beats faster. The vessels constrict. The blood pushes harder against the walls. You feel anxious without a reason. The measurement is taken. The number is high. It is not a reflection of your health. It is a reflection of the moment. The social dynamic changes the hydraulic pressure of the blood. The body vibrates in the presence of judgment. You could say that we are sensitive instruments. We tune ourselves to the tension in the room. The observer changes the nature of the thing observed. Athletes lift significantly heavier weights when falsely believing they have taken performance enhancers. You are given a simple sugar pill. You are told it is a powerful enhancer. You approach the item. The mind believes it has a new fuel. It commands the muscles to fire. The fibers recruit more units. The inhibition is removed. You lift the weight that was impossible yesterday. The muscle was always capable. The strength was always there. It was locked behind a door of doubt. The belief opened the door. The body performs at its true limit. This reveals that the limit is a line drawn by the mind. We stop because we think we must. The potential of the body is vast and weighty. Placebo effects are observed in domestic animals when their owners believe they are receiving treatment. This is called the placebo by proxy. You give a dog a pill with no medicine. The owner believes the dog will improve. The owner relaxes. Their voice becomes softer. They stop looking for signs of discomfort. The animal senses this shift in the atmosphere. The tension leaves the room. The dog stands up. It walks with more ease. The creature responds to the safety of the alpha. The anxiety of the guardian was the weight on the animal. When the weight is lifted, the body functions. It is a reminder that we create the weather for those around us. The calm of the master becomes the health of the companion. We are tethered by invisible nerves. In the 1950s, surgeons performed sham operations for angina by simply opening the chest. They opened the skin. They exposed the arteries. They did not tie them off. They closed the patient back up. The mark on the chest was visible. The patient woke up. They saw the proof of the intervention. The heavy pressure in the chest vanished. They could walk for miles. The heart received more blood because the arteries dilated. The dilation was caused by the belief in the surgery. The mark was a totem. The body respected the intensity of the procedure. It healed the heart to justify the mark. In this sense, we see that the body honors the ritual of sacrifice. The body obeys the symbol of the instrument. Blood glucose levels in diabetics can drop after the injection of saline. The body sees the needle. It feels the sensation. It has learned that this ritual brings insulin. The pancreas responds to the cue. It releases its own stores. The liver adjusts its chemistry. The sugar in the blood falls. There was no drug in the syringe. The mechanism is entirely internal. The anticipation of the regulation creates the regulation. The biological clockwork is wound by the habit. The sequence of events is hardwired into the metabolic system. You could say that the body predicts the future. It acts on what it expects to happen. They are always preparing for the next movement. The drug naloxone blocks the effects of placebo pain relief. This is the chemical proof of the mind's power. You take a placebo, and the discomfort stops. The brain has released natural opioids. Then you are given naloxone. This drug blocks opioid receptors. Suddenly the sensation returns. The placebo stops working. This proves the relief was not imaginary. It was real chemistry. The mind manufactured a physical drug. The blocker turned off the tap. The machinery of the placebo is as real as morphine. It uses the same locks and keys. This reveals that the thought is a catalyst for matter. The invisible belief creates a visible molecule. We are walking pharmacies waiting to be opened. Placebo healing rates vary significantly across different cultures and geographies. A pill for ulcers works better in Germany than in Brazil. A pill for hypertension works better in the West. The collective concern shapes the collective cure. Each culture has its own story about the body. Each culture has a different vulnerability. The mind targets the ailment that the society focuses on. We heal according to the map of our heritage. The belief is a local dialect. The body speaks a language of its birth. It is a reminder that we are not generic machines. We are shaped by the land and the people. The cure is woven into the fabric of the tribe. Mass psychogenic response spreads physical symptoms through a group without a pathogen. One person has glucose. They feel faint. They say there is a strange smell. Another person sees them. They feel the same dizziness. The feeling jumps from body to body. The symptoms ripple through the crowd like a wave. Ambulances arrive, but no toxin is found. The agent is a thought. The infection is an idea. The body mimics the distressing witnesses. We are biologically wired to share the state of the herd. The panic of the one becomes the illness of the many. In this sense, we see that reality is a shared prediction. We construct the world together. The air is thick with our mutual belief. The placebo effect demonstrates that the mind and body are not separate entities. We draw a line between the thought and the flesh. The line is an illusion. The thought is a physical event. It is a spark in a neuron. It is a release of a hormone. To think is to change the body. To hope is to alter the blood. A pill is just a permission slip. It allows you to use the power you already possess. You are the doctor and the patient. You are the medicine and the sensation. This reveals that you are a unified field of energy. The cure you search for is often resting in the silence of your own being. You are the thing that heals. Taking the pills produces a stronger therapeutic effect than taking a single pill of the same inert substance. The mind counts the objects. It sees a double measure of health. It assumes a double measure of strength. You swallow one, then the other. The ritualists go on. The body prepares a robust defense. The chemistry of belief is cumulative. The neurons fire with greater intensity. The relief is deeper because the offering was larger. The logic is simple and silent. More help means more safety. The nervous system accepts this equation without argument. In this sense, we see that we quantify our own salvation. We measure the weight of the cure. The body balances the books of the blood. Regression to the mean explains why extreme symptoms often improve after a placebo treatment. Illness has a tide. It rises and it falls. The discomfort hits a peak. It cannot stay there forever. You take the sugar pill at the moment of the deepest discomfort. The sensation naturally begins to recede. The wave breaks and rolls back. The body was already returning to the center. The mind credits the pill, and the credit belongs to the cycle of time. The biology seeks the average state. The storm always runs out of rain. This reveals that time is the true healer. We are carried on the rhythm of the return. The cure is often just the patience of the flesh. Psychological stress delays the physiological process of wound repair. You have a mark on the skin. You are anxious. The stress hormones enter the blood. They distract the immune system. The repair crews are slow to arrive. Then you are reassured. You believe help is present. The stress drops. The cortisol fades. The cells migrate faster across the gap. The edges of the area pull together. The new tissue weaves itself in the quiet. The belief acts as a catalyst for the closure. The skin knows when it is safe to mend. It is a reminder that peace is a binding agent. The body knits itself together when the mind is at rest. Treatments that require high physical effort produce better outcomes than passive treatments. You travel far to see the healer. You climb the mountain. You wait for hours. The journey is difficult. The mind insists the result must be worth the effort. It cannot accept that the labor was in vain. The body aligns with this insistence. It is to validate the exertion. It recovers to justify the miles. The investment of energy yields a return of health. We value what we work for. The effort itself becomes the medicine. You could say that the journey creates the destination. We purchase our relief with the currency of our effort. The act of being observed alters physiological behavior and health outcomes. This is a Hawthorne effect. You know you are being watched. The doctor is recording your progress. You stand taller. You breathe with more intention. The body performs for the audience. The slump in the spine corrects itself. The habits of the day are tightened. The presence of the witness changes the performance of the biology. We do not want to fail the observer. The nervous system rises to the occasion. The attention of another acts as a spotlight. In this sense, we see that we are social creatures even in ourselves. We are improved by the gaze of the tribe. The environment of the waiting room triggers a relaxation response before the doctor is seen. You sit in the chair. You have not yet been treated, but you have arrived at the place of help. The responsibility is transferred. You put the burden down. The mind knows that the solution is near. The adrenaline begins to degrade. The heart rate settles. The body begins to rise before the name is called. The proximity to the cure is enough to start the process. The safety of the building enters the chest. It is a reminder that help is often a feeling of vocation. We find sanctuary in the architecture of care. The waiting itself is a form of therapy. Caffeine withdrawal symptoms can be relieved by decaffeinated coffee. You feel the headache. The hands are shaky. You smell the roast. You taste the bitter dark oil. There is no stimulant in the cup, but the brain predicts the chemical. It wakes up the receptors. It clears the fog. The blood vessels in the head constrict. The tension vanishes. The sensation of the liquid tracks the machinery. The memory of the energy becomes the energy. The body runs on the fuel of the past. The habit is stronger than the molecule. This reveals that the senses write the future. The taste on the tongue unlocks the door to the mind. We drink the expectation. The immune system requires a significant expenditure of caloric energy to function at full capacity. The body is a miser. It hoards its resources. It does not want to spend fuel on a defense that it might deplete. It keeps the immune system on a tight leash. Then you take a placebo. The mind perceives that help has arrived. The body feels safe. It calculates that it can afford the cost of the fever. It unleashes the white blood cells. The defense mechanism kicks into high gear. The pill is not the tool. It is the signal that the supply line is open. The body fights because it believes it will not run out of energy. This reveals that healing is often an economic decision made by the biology. We wait for the promise of safety before we spend our strength on recovery. Patients who strictly adhere to a placebo regimen show lower mortality rates than those who are non-compliant. You are given a bottle of empty pills. You are told to take them every morning. You obey. You wake up. You drink the water. You swallow the pill. The medicine is inert, but discipline is real. The act of following the routine creates a structure for the day. The complexity of life is brought to order. The mind finds comfort in the consistency. The stress of the unknown is replaced by the certainty of the schedule. The body thrives on this regularity. It aligns its rhythms with the clock. It is a reminder that order is a form of medicine. The ritual of compliance settles the nervous system. We are sustained by the simple act of showing up for ourselves. Cognitive performance improves when subjects believe they have ingested a substance that enhances focus. You swallow the capsule. You are told it will make you sharp. You sit at the desk. The noise of the room seems to fade. The distraction of the phone loses its pull. The beam of your attention narrows. The brain summons resources it usually holds in reserve. You read without drifting. You solve the problem without fatigue. The chemical was inert. The focus was yours all along. The belief removed the hesitation. The mind stopped doubting its own capacity. The fog lifts because you expect it to lift. In this sense, we see that intelligence is partly a matter of confidence. We unlock the library of the mind with the key of expectation. The potential waits for the permission to act. The efficacy of certain drugs appears to decrease over time as their novelty fades in the general population. This is the decline effect. A new cure is announced. The world is excited. The news travels fast. The hope is high. The drug works wonders. Years pass. The drug becomes common. It sits on every shelf. The excitement goes. The results begin to weaken. The chemistry has not changed. The molecule is the same. But the magic has evaporated from the story. The collective belief has moved on. The body responds less because the mind is less impressed. You could say that wonder is a necessary ingredient in the cure. We need the mystery of the new to fully open the door to the relief. The effectiveness fades when the awe disappears. Olfactory stimulation can trigger conditioned physiological relaxation in the absence of a chemical sedative. You smell lavender. You have learned that this scent means sleep. The molecule enters the nose. It travels to the ancient part of the brain. The limbic system wakes up. It recognizes the signal. It tells the muscles to go slack. It tells the heart to slow. The scent is just a vapor, but the mind has tied it to the concept of rest. The air itself becomes the medicine. The breathing deepens not because of the gas, but because of the memory. The environment acts as a trigger for the internal state. This reveals that the atmosphere is a drug. We inhale the mood of the room. The ghost of the past comforts the body in the present. Switching from a brand name medication to a bioequivalent generic often results in the recurrence of symptoms. You know the blue box. It has kept you safe for years. It is a friend. Then you are given a white box. The doctor says it is the same. The science is identical. But the eyes see a stranger. The confidence drops. The anxiety rises. The body feels the doubt and tightens. The discomfort creeps back in. The shield has been lowered by the change in the packaging. The aesthetic has changed, so the biology changes. The familiar form was part of the therapy. It is a reminder that we are attached to the symbol. We trust the face of the cure as much as the substance. The loss of the image feels like the loss of the protection. Symbols of medical authority, such as uniforms on instruments, enhance patient compliance and recovery. The healer wears a white coat. They carry a stethoscope. They speak a specific language. You see the uniform. You respect the rank. The instinct of mind bows to the leader. It surrenders the burden of the illness. You do not have to fight anymore. The expert has taken the weight. The anxiety of the decision is removed. The cortisol levels drop because someone else is in charge. The uniform is a signal to let go. The body relaxes into the hierarchy. In this sense, we see that authority acts as a sedative. We find peace in the presence of competence. The symbol of the guardian allows the protected to rest. Placebo responses are often diminished in patients with cognitive changes due to degeneration in the prefrontal cortex. The machinery of expectation requires a healthy mind. You must be able to imagine the future to heal it. The patient swallows the pill. It dissolves in the quiet. But the brain cannot build the bridge to the relief. It lies only in the eternal present. It cannot anticipate the comfort that is coming. The chemical of hope does not flow because the concept of tomorrow is gone. The body waits for a signal that never arrives. The silence remains unbroken. This reveals that hope is a complex cognitive architecture. It requires the ability to project oneself into a better time. We need the future to heal the present. The endocannabinoid system mediates specific forms of placebo analgesia that are not blocked by opioid antagonists. The body has more than one way to silence the discomfort. It does not always use the morphine pathway. Sometimes it uses the molecule of bliss. You expect the sensation to stop. The brain releases this different, subtle oil. It coats the nerves. The sharp edge of the sensation is blunted. The body relaxes into a state of heavy comfort. The memory of the discomfort fades before the discomfort itself. The system works in the background. It is a quiet operator. It is a reminder that the body is a house with many rooms. There are multiple keys to the door of peace. We are designed for relief on every level. Smokers report satisfaction from Denico tea, ionized cigarettes if they are unaware of the absence of the drug. The smoke enters the lungs. It is grey and warm. The hand performs the familiar art. The paper burns down to the filter. The brain recognizes the ritual. It stops the craving. It releases the dopamine. There is no chemical cause for the calm. The relief comes from the rhythm of the breath. The visual cloud is enough to trick the blood. The habit satisfies the need. The object is empty, but the action is full. In this sense, we see that we are drawn to the ceremony. The routine itself becomes a sedative. We find comfort in the repetition of the act. Verbal suggestion can measurably alter local skin temperature by affecting capillary dilation. You are told your head is warm. The mind focuses on the fingers. It sends a silent command to the vessels. The tiny tubes widen. The blood rushes to the site of the attention. The skin turns pink. The temperature rises. You feel the heat radiating from the bone. The thought of warmth creates the physical reality of warmth. The mind moves the blood like a tide. The body directs its resources to where the focus lies. You could say that attention is a form of energy. Where the mind goes, the heat follows. We can warm ourselves with a single thought. Patients often show symptomatic improvement during the screening phase of clinical trials before treatment begins. You sign the document. You agree to be studied. You have not yet taken a pill, but the decision has been made. The mind knows that change is coming. The body begins to repair itself in anticipation. The stress of the indecision is over. The path is chosen. The symptoms recede because the struggle to find help has ended. The act of enrollment is the first dose of the cure. That work is a form of therapy. It is a reminder that commitment is a signal to the biology. The moment we agree to be healed, the work begins. The probability of receiving a placebo in a trial affects the magnitude of the response. If you know there is a 50% chance of emptiness, the body hesitates. The hope is diluted by the math. The relief is partial. If you believe the help is certain, the body commits fully. The channels open wide. The uncertainty acts as a brake on the nervous system. The doubt creates friction in the blood. The body calculates the odds before it spends the energy to heal. It wants a guarantee. This reveals that faith is a variable in the equation. The stronger the certainty, the deeper the silence. We feel best when we do not doubt the source. The specific words used to describe a pain stimulus change the neural response to it. You are told a sensation will feel like a warm spread. The heat touches the skin. You feel a glow. You are told the same heat will feel like an intense heat. You feel a sharpness. The temperature is identical. The physics have not changed, but the language has changed the filter. The word intensity wakes up the alarm system. The word warmth puts it to sleep. The brain interprets the signal based on the label it was given. The narrative wraps around the sensation. You could say that language is the code that runs the body. The name we give to the feeling becomes the feeling itself. Hypnotic suggestion can eliminate viral warts on the skin. The wart is a growth caused by a virus. It is a physical structure. You are told that the wart will vanish. The mind accepts the instruction. It identifies the intruder. The immune system is directed to the specific location. It reduces the flow to the growth. The tissue fades. The virus is expelled. The skin returns to a smooth state. No acid was applied. No instrument was used. The thought acted as a focus. The body obeyed the quiet command of the imagination. It is a reminder that the mind is the architect of the flesh. We can dismantle the structures of illness with a focused intent. The body clears the ground when the order is given. Endoscopic studies reveal that placebos can heal gastric ulcers. Eye camera is lowered into the stomach. The doctor sees the sensitive area. The patient takes a sugar pill. They believe it is a powerful drug. Next task. The camera returns. The issue is gone. The lining of the stomach is pink and whole. The body produced the necessary cells to cover the breach. It regulated the acid levels. It repaired the issue in the quiet. The belief initiated a biological sequence of construction. The pill was the cornerstone. The body built the wall around it. In this sense, we see that the body is a self-correcting machine. It has the blueprints for repair. It only needs the confidence to begin the work. Soldiers often report less discomfort than civilians for similar injuries. This is the context effect. A soldier is injured on the field. The wound means he is going home. It means survival. The sensation is linked to relief. A civilian is injured in an accident. The wound means sadness. It means loss. The sensation is linked to fear. The brain interprets the signal based on the meaning of the event. The soldier refuses morphine. The civilian demands it. The nerve damage is identical. The experience is opposite. The mind filters the sensation through the lens of the future. This reveals that discomfort is not just a signal from the nerve. It is a story told by the brain. We feel what the wound signifies, not just what it affects. Bitter-tasting substances are often perceived as more potent medicines. Evolution taught us that harmful things are bitter. It taught us that powerful plants are bitter. The tongue tastes the sharp, unpleasant flavor. The brain registers a shock. It concludes that the substance is strong. It assumes the effect will be drastic. A sweet pill feel like candy. A bitter pill feels like a cure. The body respects the difficulty of the taste. It prepares for a significant change. The flavor acts as a hero. The relief is stronger because the medicine was hard to swallow. It is a reminder that we associate healing with a challenge. We trust the cure that demands a reaction from the senses. Sham ultrasound therapy reduces dental discomfort when the machine emits a buzzing sound. You sit in the chair. The wand touches your jaw. You hear the hum of the device. The light turns on. The machine is doing nothing. The sound is a recording. Yet, the jaw relaxes. The inflammation feels less hot. The sound signals the presence of technology. The ear hears the work being done. The body aligns with the noise. It believes the sound waves are penetrating the bone. The tension dissolves into the hum. The auditory cue creates the physical relief. You could say that we tune ourselves to the frequency of the machine. The noise of the cure drowns out the noise of the discomfort. The length of the medical consultation directly correlates with the improvement in patient health. You see a doctor for 5 minutes. The relief is shallow. You see a doctor for 20 minutes. The relief is deep. The diagnosis is the same. The treatment is the same. The difference is the time. The mind values the attention it receives. It measures the care in minutes. A long conversation feels like a heavy investment. The body honors this investment. It responds to the generosity of the healer. The stress hormones drop further. The immune system rallies stronger. This reveals that time is a form of currency. When we are listened to, we are healed. The clock on the wall is part of the medicine. Extreme fear can lead to sudden physiological shifts. This is the shadow side of belief. A person believes a negative outcome is inevitable. The mind accepts this as fact. It sends a message of shutdown to the body. The nervous system is overwhelmed. The blood vessels dilate uncontrollably. The blood pressure plummets. The rhythm slows. There is no toxin. There is no injury. The idea alone pauses the rhythm. The body obeys the final command of the mind. It is a reminder that we are sustained by our will. The belief in the outcome brings the outcome. We survive because we believe we will. Irritable bowel syndrome is characterized by a hypersensitivity of the gut's nervous system. The stomach is a second brain. It has its own network of neurons. You take a placebo capsule. The mind sends a message down the vagus nerve. The message is one of safety. The tightness in the abdomen uncoils. The turbulence of the digestion smooths out. The gut stops reacting to every shadow. It settles into a quiet hum. The inflammation driven by stress begins to cool. The biology of the stomach aligns with the calm of the thought. It is a reminder that the center of the body listens to the center of the mind. The gut feels what the brain believes. We digest our own expectations. Visual acuity can be improved through the power of suggestion. You look at an eye chart. The letters are blurry and small. You are given a pair of glasses. The lenses are plain glass. They have no magnification. But you are told they are prescription. You look again. The muscles around the lens of the eye relax. The strain disappears. The focus sharpens. You read the line that was previously invisible. The physical structure of the eye has not changed. The processing in the visual cortex has changed. The brain decides to see clearly. This reveals that vision is an active interpretation. We see what we expect to see. The clarity comes from the confidence, not the glass. Tolerance to intensity is often measured by the ability to keep a hand submerged in freezing water. The cold touches the skin. The instinct is to pull away. You are given an inner cream. You are told it insulates the skin. You put your hand back in the water. The ice is still freezing. But the alarm signal is quieter. You hold your hand there for minutes longer. The mind builds a thermal wall. It decides that the cold is manageable. The experience is separated from the sensation. The body endures the extreme because it believes it is protected. In this sense, we see that endurance is a mental construct. The limit of the flesh is negotiated by the will. We can withstand the ice if we believe we are warm. Transguanidinous electrical nerve stimulation uses current to disrupt discomfort signals. In sham studies, the machine is turned on. It makes a buzzing sound. It vibrates against the skin. Then no electrical current flows. The patient feels the vibration. They believe the electricity is working. The nerves in the spine close the gate to the discomfort. The ache in the back subsides. The buzz is just a noise, but the body interprets it as a treatment. The mechanical sensation replaces the uncomfortable sensation. The nervous system focuses on the rhythm of the machine. It is a reminder that the body can be distracted from its own issues. The noise of the cure silences the noise of the injury. We find relief in the hum of the device. Hot flashes are the result of a sudden dysregulation of the body's internal thermostat. The brain thinks the body is overheating. It rushes blood to the skin to cool down. You take a placebo pill. The brain recalibrates. It stops misreading the temperature. The wave of heat does not rise. The sweat does not go. The heart rate remains steady. The chemical imbalance remains, but the reaction stops. The mind convinces the hypothalamus that the temperature is normal. The internal weather settles into a mild season. This reveals that the body's control systems are responsive to our beliefs. The fire within is extinguished by the thought of cool water. We regulate our own climate. Patients with deep brain stimulation implants often maintain motor function after the battery dies. The device sends electrical pulses to the brain to stop tremors. The battery runs out. The pulses stop. The machine is silent. But the patient does not know. They continue to walk smoothly. The hand remains steady. The neural pathways hold the pattern of the electricity. The momentum of the treatment carries forward. The brain remembers how to move without the tremor. It sustains the order in the absence of the signal. The silence of the machine is filled by the memory of the cure. In this sense, we see that the body learns the rhythm of health. It can dance to the music even after the song has ended. Creativity scores increase when subjects are exposed to an odor they believe stimulates the mind. You smell a pungent scent. You are told it opens the neural pathway. Ease it down to write or draw. The mind feels expansive. The hesitation recedes. The ideas flow with less resistance. The brain accesses associations it usually blocks. The scent is just cinnamon or lemon. It has no cognitive effect. But the permission to be creative is real. The barrier of self-criticism is lowered by the ritual. The mind believes it has been unlocked. Therefore, the door opens. It is a reminder that our potential is often held back by our own doubt. The key to the mind is simply the belief that it is open. We are the gatekeepers of our own genius. Visual cues can trigger allergic reactions in the absence of an allergen. This is known as the artificial rose effect. And as the patient sees a flower, the flower is made of plastic. It is no pot. It has no scent. Yet, the patient begins to wheeze. The lungs tighten. The nose begins to run. The eye sees the shape of the trigger. The brain fires the alarm. The immune system launches a defense against the ghost. The body is fighting a memory, not a molecule. The visual input overrides the reality of the air. It is a reminder that the senses are not always truthful reporters. We react to the symbol of the signal. The image alone is enough to close the throat. Placebo patches without nicotine significantly reduce cravings in smokers. You place the bandage on your arm. You feel the pull of the adhesive. You feel the slight weight of the material on the skin. This tactile sensation acts as a signal. The brain registers the presence of the patch. It assumes a chemical is flowing. The withdrawal symptoms fade. The agitation settles. The hand stops reaching for the smoke. The skin tells the brain that help has arrived. The chemical is absent, but the feeling of being covered is present. In this sense, we see that the body finds comfort in the physical sensation of the cure. The texture of the bandage is part of the medicine. We are soothed by the touch of the remedy. Drug tolerance is partly a conditioned response to the environment. The body learns where you take your medicine. You sit in the same chair. You see the same light. The body recognizes the room. It prepares a countermeasure before the drug enters the blood. It braces itself. If you take the same dose in a new room, the body is surprised. It does not prepare. The drug hits with full force. The familiar walls are protecting you. The ritual of the location moderated the impact. This reveals that the room you inhabit is part of your biology. The geography of the moment alters the chemistry of the vein. We are anchored by the spaces we occupy. Tinnitus volume can be reduced by placebo treatments that target the auditory cortex. The ear rings. It is a high, thin wire of sound in the center of the head. It never stops. You take a pill. You believe it quiets the nerve. The brain turns down the sensitivity dial. The noise recedes into the background. The wire snaps. The silence returns to the room. The change in the ear remains. The signal is still set, but the mind chooses not to hear it. It filters out the static. You rest in the quiet that you created. You could say that silence is an internal architecture. The brain decides what is noise and what is peace. We can mute the world with a thought. Full age syndrome occurs when partners of pregnant women experience pregnancy symptoms. The woman carries the child. The man watches. He does not have a womb. Yet, his stomach swells. His back aches. He feels the sensation of the morning. The hormones shift in sympathy. The boundary between the two bodies dissolves. The empathy is so strong it becomes biological. The nervous system mimics the state of the beloved. The feeling is shared. The weight is distributed. It is a reminder that we are not isolated vessels. We carry the burdens of those we are bound to. The love translates into the flesh. We feel the life growing in another. Migraine discomfort is often relieved by the constriction of dilated blood vessels via placebo. The head pulses. The pressure builds behind the eye. The veins in the brain are swollen. You swallow the inner tablet. The mind believes it is a vasoxanter. It sends a command to the vascular walls. The veins tighten. The flow regulates. The pounding rhythm slows down. The pressure in the mind passes. The chemistry of the blood flow is altered by the expectation of relief. The red river obeys the thought. In this sense, we see that we have a silent control over our own plumbing. The pulse listens to the mind. We can cool the heat of the blood. Motor performance improves when subjects believe they are using lucky equipment. You stand over the ball. You are told this ball is lucky. You are told it always finds the hole. The doubt leaves your hands. The tension leaves the shoulders. The stroke is fluid and true. The ball rolls into the cup. The object is standard. The plastic is inert matter. But the belief animates it. You project your own confidence into the tool. The mind clears the path for the body to perform. The luck is not in the object. It is in the absence of fear. This reveals that we are the source of the magic. We endow the world with the power to help us. The instrument works because we trust it. Perceived control over a painful stimulus significantly reduces the subjective experience of suffering. You sit in a chair. A machine delivers a small stimulus to your arm. It is intense. The muscles tense. Then you are given the button. You control when the stimulus happens. The voltage is the same. The sensation is the same. But the intensity decreases. The brain stops bracing for the unknown. The anxiety of the weight evaporates. You press the button. You accept the sensation on your own terms. The nervous system relaxes because it is the master of the event. The fear was in the lack of agency. It is a reminder that we fear what we cannot govern. The intensity is lighter when we hold it in our own hands. We can endure the storm if we are the ones who summon it. The brain processes social rejection and physical injury using the same neural circuitry. You feel the ache of a heavy heart. It's heavy in the center of the chest. It feels like a bruise. You take a simple painkiller. You swallow the pill. The medicine enters the blood. It targets the discomfort centers, the emotional weakness. The grief feels less sharp. The biology cannot distinguish between the change to the bone and the change to the spirit. It treats all suffering as a threat to survival. The molecule soothes the loneliness just as it soothes the fever. In this sense, we see that the body is a unified vessel for feeling. The heart and the flesh are stitched together by the same threads. We heal the spirit by tending to the biology. High-technology placebos produce greater effects than low-technology placebos. You are treated with a laser. You see the red beam. It looks precise. It hums with power. It looks like the future. The light touches your skin. It is warm. The mind trusts the machine more than the hand. It believes in the authority of the engineering. The sensation fades under the red light. The laser is actually a simple lamp. It has no medical function. But the aesthetic of technology commands the biology. The modern mind bows to the complex tool. The intricate ritual of the machine silences the doubt. This reveals that we worship the light of the new. We assign power to what we do not understand. The image of progress becomes the agent of the cure. Watching a digital avatar of oneself exercising can induce physiological changes in the observer. You wear a headset. You enter the digital void. You see a body that looks like yours. It is running. It is strong. It does not tire. You stand still in the room, and your heart rate increases. Your breathing deepens. The cortisol drops. The brain identifies with the image. It bridges the gap between the pixel and the sound. The mirror neurons fire as if you were moving. The body mimics the strength of the shadow. The boundary between the virtual and the physical dissolves. You could say that the image dictates the reality. We become what we see. The light projects the avatar onto the flesh. Memory reconsolidation allows for the emotional charge of a past event to be altered. You remember a moment of discomfort. The memory is pulled from the shelf. It is fragile. While you hold it, you are told it was a moment of growth. You are told you were safe. The memory is rewritten. You place it back on the shelf. The sharp edges are gone. The next time you touch it, it does not hurt. The nervous system has changed its relationship to the past. The old memory loses its heat. The mark remains, but the sensitivity fades. It is a reminder that the past is a fluid thing. We are constantly editing the story of who we are. We can heal the history of the body by changing the narrative. The removal of a stressful diagnosis causes immediate reduction in physical symptoms. You carry the name of a condition. The body feels heavy. The joints sink. You scan the body for proof, and you find it. Then the phone rings. The doctor made a mistake. You are healthy. The weight drops instantly. The energy returns to the limbs. The discomfort vanishes because the reason for it is gone. The sickness was held in place by the label. The mind stops looking for the flaw. The body returns to its natural buoyancy. In this sense, we see that we are confined by the names we are given. The word acts as a vessel. When the door is open, the body flies free. The act of observation collapses the wave function of a particle. The mind observes the body. It is a searchlight in the dark. If it looks for tension, it finds tension. It illuminates the suffering. If it looks for peace, it finds peace. Hate illuminates the silence. The searchlight creates the landscape. The placebo is simply a lens that focuses the light. It directs the attention toward the possibility of wellness. The body organizes itself around this focus. The cells align with the expectation. The chaos settles into order. This reveals that you are the creator of your own internal world. The reality of the flesh is shaped by the gaze of the mind. You are the observer and the observed. The perceived sweetness of a liquid increases when it is served in a rounder container. You hold the cup. It is curved and smooth. It feels soft in the hand. The liquid touches the tongue. The brain anticipates sugar because of the shape. The nerves fire a signal of sweetness. The chemistry on the tongue is bitter, but the experience is sweet. The geometry of the vessel alters the taste of the content. The mind blends the tactile sensation with the flavor. The sharp edge tastes sour. The round edge tastes rich. The senses do not work alone. They weave a single reality together. This reveals that perception is a construction. We do not taste the molecule. We taste the context. The world is flavored by the shape of the container. There neurons fire when an individual observes an action performed by another. You see a stranger yawn across the room. The muscles of your own jaw tighten. The air in the lungs feels stale. The chest expands to take a breath. You did not choose this. The body mimics the tired stranger. The silence of their fatigue becomes your fatigue. The nervous system bridges the gap between the bodies. It copies the state of the other. The yawn travels like a ripple through water. We are susceptible to the rhythms of the crowd. It is a reminder that we are echoes of one another. We are not isolated islands. The biology of the neighbor enters her own skin. We share the same breath. Knowing a treatment is a placebo does not necessarily nullify its physiological effects. You are told the pill is sugar. You read the label. You take it anyway. The body ignores the logic of the mind. It loves the ritual. The hand moves to the mouth. The cool water washes it down. The ancient machinery turns on despite the modern knowledge. The gut relaxes. The discomfort recedes. The subconscious mind is a faithful servant to the habit. It does not care about the facts. It cares about the rhythm of care. In this sense, we see that the body is older than the intellect. It responds to the gesture, not the science. The act of taking the cure is the cure itself. Exposure to red light increases the perception of warmth compared to blue light. You stand in a blue room. The skin feels cool. The blood retreats from the surface. You shiver. The air is actually warm. But the eyes see ice. The brain commands the body to conserve heat. The visual cold becomes physical cold. Then the light turns red. The eyes see warmth. The blood returns to the skin. The body relaxes into the imagined heat. The temperature has not changed. The light has changed. The mind adjusts the thermostat based on the color. You could say that the eye dictates the climate. We live in the atmosphere created by our vision. The spectrum of light touches the core of the body. More invasive placebo procedures produce greater therapeutic effects than non-invasive ones. A pill is small. A surgery is large. The body respects the instrument more than the time. The process is done. The skin is soft. The light forms. The discomfort vanishes. The nature of the process proves the worth of the cure. The body rallies to the site of the event. It releases more resources because the event was serious. The heaviness of the intervention signals a heavy need for repair. The nervous system takes the hint. It works harder when the stakes are high. This reveals that we measure healing by the cost. The deep mark on the body creates a deep silence in the discomfort. We honor the weight of the change. The immune system can be conditioned to suppress activity based on a specific taste. You taste a bitter syrup. In the past, this taste was paired with a drug. The drug stopped the inflammation. Now, there is no drug. There is only the flavor. The tongue detects the bitterness. The signal goes to the spleen. The immune cells slow down. The swelling drops. The body remembers the chemical pattern. It follows the ghost of the medicine. The sensation on the tongue acts as a remote control for the blood. The memory is as potent as the molecule. It is a reminder that history is written in the blood. The past is stored in the library of the senses. We digest our memories and call it healing. Patients recover faster when they perceive their physician as warm and confident. The doctor smiles. The voice is low and steady. The fear in the stomach nods. The cortisol levels drop. The immune system wakes up. The body stops fighting the anxiety. It starts fighting the illness. The safety of the leader allows the follower to rest. The biology repairs itself in the shadow of authority. The trust is a physical substance. It travels from the eyes of the healer to the heart of the patient. The connection is the catalyst. Without the bond, the medicine is just dust. In this sense, we see that kindness is a biological force. The presence of compassion alters the outcome of the journey. We heal best when we are seen. Patients recovering in hospital rooms with windows facing nature require fewer painkillers than those facing walls. The eye sees the green leaf. The brain recognizes the ancient home. The stress signals drop. The concrete wall offers no comfort. The tree offers a silent promise of life. The body relaxes into the view. The pulse slows down to match the wind. The discomfort is forgotten in the observation of the light. The outside world heals the inside world. The biology responds to the geometry of the forest. It is a reminder that we are creatures of the earth. We fade in the box. We bloom in the light. The separation between the body and the land is an illusion. The use of harsh language by a physician increases the patient's perception of discomfort. Words like sharp or hot act as sudden signals. They enter the ear. They touch the mind. The nervous system braces for the input. The muscles tighten around the bone. If the voice is soft, the body remains open. If the word is pressure, the nerves stay quiet. The vocabulary of the healer becomes the reality of the patient. The sound vibrates in the tissue. In this sense, we see that speech is a biological event. A sentence can disrupt. A whisper can mend. We are shaped by the sounds we absorb. The word becomes the flesh. Mental rehearsal of a physical action strengthens the neural connections in the motor cortex. Use it in the chair. You do not move. You imagine lifting a heavy stone. The brain fires the same signal. The pathway grows wider. The insulation around the wire gets thicker. The body prepares for the weight that is not there. The strength is built in the silence of the mind. The thought lays the foundation for the muscle. The potential becomes physical before the action begins. This reveals that the line between thinking and doing is thin. The mind is the workshop. The body is the result. We build ourselves in the dark. Holding the hand of a partner significantly reduces the neural response to threat. You are in uncertainty. You feel the warm grip of another. The alarm in the brain turns off. The world feels manageable. The isolation is the source of the worry. The connection is the source of the safety. The skin reads the presence of the other. The heartbeat synchronizes with the steady rhythm of the partner. The burden is shared. The weight is divided by two. You could say that we are engineered for contact. The solitary animal lives in worry. The connected animal lives in peace. We find our courage in the touch. So, rhythmic breathing mechanically stimulates the vagus nerve to lower heart rate. You draw the air in. You push the air out. The diaphragm moves down. It massages the nerve. The signal travels to the brain. It's as the uncertainty is over. The chemical of stress is washed away. The body shifts from active to resting. The logic does not matter. The mechanics of the breath dictate the state of the mind. You control the engine with the air. It is a reminder that the spirit is anchored in the breath. We can change the mind by moving the wind. The peace is just a breath away. The ceremonial preparation of a treatment enhances its perceived efficacy. You boil the water. You watch the steam rise. You measure the power. The time spent is an investment. The mind honors the details. The patient's required acts as a sedative. The liquid is drunk with reverence. The body accepts the care. It does not matter what is in the cup. It matters how the cup was filled. The intention dissolves into the water. In this sense, we see that we drink the time we spend. The ritual slows down the world. The healing happens in the pause. The act is a medicine. The Placebo effect is proof that the body possesses an innate capacity for self-repair. You are not empty. You are not incomplete. You are a reservoir of potential relief. The pill is just a key. The chemistry is yours. The morphine is in your blood. The calm is in your brain. You are the manufacturer of your own medicine. The external world gives you permission. The internal world does the work. This reveals that you are already whole. The cure you seek is woven into your dust. You are the patient and the healer. You are the question and the answer. And so we drift to the end of our quiet journey through the mysterious alchemy of the mind. We have walked the bridge where expectation transforms into reality, where the intangible fabric of belief weaves itself into the physical cells of the body. It is a reminder that the boundary between thought and matter is softer than we imagine. There is a profound safety in this truth, that you are not merely a vessel, but a healer, that within the quiet dark of your own consciousness, you possess an innate power to soothe, to mend, and to rest. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. There is nothing left to understand, nothing left to do. Just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy. Let the gentle warmth of the placebo effect, the quiet strength of your own belief cradle your dreams tonight. Good night.